All right, I think we're good. Get the sound going. And switch to game. Perfect. All right. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Um, let's this. Um, hmm. All right. Let's dive into some games, and let me get my microphone in a better position. I feel like my face is over here. Um. Let's take a look at the deck real quick. I want to test. Um, Plaza of Heroes, one too many. A lot of tap lands. I feel like this is an okay list. All right, let's just jump into play queue and kind of see what is happening. Let's go into standard play and play some shrines. Oh man. Opponent goes first. Hands okay. May not be good against mono red. Gotta play tap land, so we'll play Jetmir. And we're probably gonna get for 3, more than likely. Alright, seems maybe they're playing aggressive, but it could be worse. Another tap lane's not great. Might as well put something on the battlefield, at least in the way. Don't have one open. Not really doing much to pump it up next turn. So mono red burn is probably what we're playing. All right, swinging for 4. I'll take 4. Can we survive long enough? Maybe. Maybe. That's all expensive. An untap land next turn is probably good. That's not going to do anything. No attacks. End turn. We'll pay the 1. Make it bigger. Don't play a lot of removal, so there's that. Getting it for 1, we're probably going to get hit by a spell. Alright. Gonna get for 2. Possibly kill my creature. Can only play 1 of those. Didn't get a land. Alright, I mean, I prefer them not do 2 to the face. So there's... I mean, that's probably a little bit late. It's being your upkeep. Huh. first strike. Will I survive, though, is the question. Will I survive? One, 3. All right. Down to 4. Do I have a way to gain life? Naturalist is possible. Okay, they had it. Yeah, it's a good game. That is a good game. I think I was just behind the whole time, so. All right, game 1. I would say that's a rough draw. Just don't know what else we could throw into shrines. What would make shrines good is the real question. Yeah, I mean, hand's good. Yep. 2, 3, 4 drop, and then we got a ley line, so I think it checks out to be okay. It could just be a day of mono red. All right, mono red is popular. Ooh, that's actually really good. Zer's really good. Zer turns all my shrines into hexproof, death touchers, and lifelinkers, so I'm not mad about it. Multiple Plaza of Heroes isn't great. Though Zer is actually really good next turn, because then Zer turns into... That's next turn, I think. We'll play Zer. And then give my shrine lifelink, death touch, and hexproof. And then they can only target my face, I guess. And I guess Zer can't then block next turn, but then no attacks. I'm not attacking for a 0. I don't have a land untapped. You can't target it. It doesn't have any power, so it's not going to give me any life if I throw it in front of something. Next turn, Xander Lounge into Ancient War. Or is it Baseu? That's it. Oh, so they're... Wait, what? Their secret Gruul this whole time? Okay. Kicking it. Got it. Can only target the Xander. We'll block what we can. I don't want this to die. We're at 7. Another one's not great. Xander Lounge into this. I think that's actually really good, because now we have first strike lifelinker. Not great though, but it blocks a lot of what they have on the battlefield, and we gain life in the process, so we're not dead. Plus, if they have another Ironclast, how's it going, Bill? Okay. Are we dead? No, we're still not dead. Right? Because I can block here, here, and we take 4. And we up to 5? Alright. I'm on board with what we got going on here. I don't want to tap out. I actually want to leave mana open, because then deals X damage to target player planeswalker. I'll pay the 1. I'm not gonna mill though. Trying to get shrines to work is going to be the challenge here. But so far, this game, we kind of stalled them out, which is good. And the other thing, too, is I can tap them for Zer's ability and then turn them into a creature with power and toughness equal to their power. Sure. And we're giving all that to itself. For now, we will do this, and we'll get rid of that one, and we'll resolve that. I think this is working out. Pass to attackers. Sure. We'll use his ability. We'll make our ley line into a creature. Block, block, and block. And I feel like our opponent's going to scoop in the process of this. Yep. Okay. Got shrines to work. Whew. All right. I feel like they stalled out and didn't draw green mana, which was to our benefit. Is there anything else we could add, though, that maybe gains the benefit of domain? That's really the trick here. Is there anything else that's good that I could add to the deck? If I could spell, be helpful. Let's go this way so the cards are bigger. Leyline's good. Rada, it's not really needed because it's not an enchantment creature. I don't think I want drag. Drag doesn't help me because it kills my stuff. Migration's okay, but not great. I don't know. I guess we still just keep the list. Maybe add some other removal. All right, let's throw it back into play queue and see if we can go back to back. Hand's a bit slow, but I think it's okay because we have Commune and we have a 2-drop. So as long as our opponent's kind of doing the same, I'm not mad about it, though. Maybe they're Esper. I don't think they're playing Shrines like I... Oh. Maybe they're playing some sort of domain. Okay. Do I wait until next turn and at least get something on the battlefield? I think is probably the play, and then hope we draw a land. I have a weird feeling that's a ley line in that hand. Nice. All land. What color do we have? We have Esper, so that should complete... yeah, this should complete the colors, if I'm not mistaken. Nope. Feels bad. We'll autopay. I can't ley line here. All right. All right. I see what you're doing. You're also a digger. Can I mill them though? I want to mill them first before you can do anything. What are we doing over there? Autopay. Mill you one. Just a sort of 5-color domain pile, it looks like. Yep, just looks like a domain pile. Which could be bad because that means they have ley lines. They probably have Kami Wars. Land? It would be nice to draw a land. Still don't have all the colors though. Zer? Is Zer good? Zer is good. I'm not going to attack with a 0/4. You can ley line it if you want. All right. We're going to search our library for a land again. Gain 3 life. Not a big deal, at least right now. Just need to chain a couple lands together, and I think my hand's pretty good. Auto pay. And we mill them a land. 40 cards. Slowly getting there. Mill strategy is online. I know Zer's pretty interesting. All right, Unleash the Inferno is actually a good card I could consider. I guess let's rebuild. I didn't draw a land. I don't have many mana open. Feel like a Leyline's Akami War's coming. That's something they could. Yeah, they could play it. I think they have the 5 colors. Right? Blue or white. Yeah. I think there's 5 colors there. Alright, we're going very specific taps, though. Okay. I guess the 1/3 is very scary. And they touched my deck for some strange reason. No idea why. Still can't draw another land, though. Play 24. Should I go up to... Hey, there we go. Now we're online. Is the other shrine good? All right. We got Wandering Emperor here.
I'm home.
Sure.
We must protect the people.
Got lots and lots of things. They're probably going to plus because we don't have any tap things. Or they're going to play Angel. Just a turn behind, to be quite honest. Missing land drop didn't help. But
May your blade strike true.
not out of this just yet. I mean, they haven't really put us away. I mean, having 3 ley lines isn't actually that terrible either. We'll say go. See what they got. See if they have removal. Can play one of my 2 ley lines and kind of wait and see if they play ley line on my ley line. Dig up. Only not going to look for a particular card. Just going to get a basic land here. And we're tapping out. Yep. We'll get rid of the 1. +1 does nothing. We'll take 4. I guess we'll play this, and we'll say go. Tap the 1, though. Can get rid of a 2/2. We'll decline. I think having a ley line up is more beneficial to us. And really, it has come down to so far that we just haven't had the land. Sure. It doesn't come back, though. We'll take that action. I'll get that land. We'll take a Xander's Lounge. Or Proving Ground. Sorry, not Xander's Lounge. Sure. It's coming onto the battlefield one way or the other. My opponent. Alright, so they liked what they got to put stuff into the graveyard. I still think we take 4.
Keep watch for intruders.
I mean, that's like a turn too late. This has not gone in our favor, to be quite honest. Three mana open. Naturalist plus Leyline doesn't seem like great. I think it's the Kami War. We'll get rid of their creature because it has lifelink, has flying, can't really block it. No attacks. Don't have a mana open. There's a stop here. Awesome.
Strike fast and strike hard.
If you have removal, it's game over. I mean... Alright. Alright. Fell behind. Fell behind pretty quickly. Let's make one adjustment. I want to actually see if that card's actually going to work for us in Shrines. I think it's this color. Let's try a couple Unleash Infernos. And let's... The problem with Shrines is that there's so much mana that you have to invest into them. And they're legendary. It's like I like everything else except for the Shrines, but I don't want to cut the Shrines if I'm trying to make Shrines. Is the mana an issue? If we add a little bit of this in, do I add in a black mana instead of an additional white mana? I think we minus that one to 2. I think we actually minus the one Shrine to 2. Let's go to mana. Land. Let's take Plaza down. I think having too many plazas is a bad thing. And we'll add in one swamp. Is that the play? Maybe get rid of a couple copies of Joda. We'll increase Inferno. We'll put the one Shrine back. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. It's always fun to build a unique deck that probably is very off meta. A lot of tap land, but I mean, it's not the worst. Are we? No, we're not on the play. No, we're on the play. My opponent mulliganed once already. I don't remember what we're on. Okay, we can go first. Sweet. Good old Jetmir. Mono green. Okay, we're just going to draw one of every dual triome in our deck, I guess. Sweet. Playing City. Well, at least we got our colors. I think I have all 5 colors. All right, playing to what looks like a basic mono green deck. So what we gotta look here for is probably get rid of the gorilla, is my assumption. Can't play any of. We'll do this and we'll play commune. I think that's the play, and maybe yeah, trying to find an answer to add up to our hand, so it's like we have a face-up answer that our opponent really can't deal with at the moment. I'll take 3. Has trample. There's no point. Surprise in 4th land. Another Jewel Thief. Okay. Sure. My turn. Can I get rid of one? This is 5 colors? Is it just it's not Joda time. Joda time makes no sense. I guess it's Kami War time. We'll attack for 2. And it's as if we didn't get hit with anything. Now we're not a shrine deck, we're just a enchantment deck. Joda legendary enchantments. Oh, that is a Titan of Industry, isn't it? Huh. Well, that's gonna be interesting. You didn't want me to play play whatchamacallit? I thought that did it differently. It's fine. I mean, I'll block as that touch. I'll take... Yeah, I'll take this. Got another one? Okay. Okay, so we're a gamer here. We're gaming. Decline the mill. I guess I can unleash the Inferno is a good removal spell. My assumption is Storm the Festival. This is gonna be fun. Let's see what we get. 2 green mana. Good for me. Okay, so trying to get a bunch of creatures in their deck. They get a 4/4 for this. Yeah, I guess I'll just get rid of it. So we'll take this many. All right, backup Joda is good. Autopay. And we'll say go. In an interesting predicament right now. Though we do have a 7/7, so that's pretty good. It kind of slows them down, and our 2/6 is actually not a bad blocker. All right. Are we Covenant in? No land, it doesn't seem like they have on the top. Blob. Okay. Does Blob split? Blob does split. Do I really want to mill them? How many do they have? 2? Sure. We'll mill you. 1 card. Needed some action there. Didn't have any gas. I mean, I think they have a good attack here. I mean, they had a good attack beforehand. I don't know why they had to think about it. I mean, I'm dead. Just attack. It's just attack. Yeah, I think... Well, I mean, that's not the biggest, but these two are the biggest. We'll still take 5, 9, 13. Feels like it's lacking something. I just don't know what it is. Feels like it's lacking something. I feel like the problem with these shrines compared to shrines we've had in the past is the fact that you have to invest 1 mana into them to make them good. And in the early game, that kind of slows us down. So I wonder if shrines are actually viable. Also, drawing both our Jodas when we only played 2 in the deck seems kind of weird. Could I have cascaded the last game off of the Joda? Maybe. Proving Ground. 2 Proving Grounds against Mono Red. Will this take us the distance is going to be the question. I could technically play a Shrine. And maybe they'll want to remove this instead of letting me keep it on the battlefield. And this could technically then interfere with their play of playing their 2-drop creature on turn 2. Possibly. I know it's super scary. Awesome. Worked like a charm. Playing mind games over here. We'll commune. Naturalist is always good. I know 4 is not bad. It just sits in front of things. The first strike could become handy, though. Definitely taking possibly... I have a feeling we're taking 6. They have 3rd land, and it is... Never mind. Not where I thought we were going. Ooh. Next turn, we could have a nifty play, though. Next turn, we could... Oh, I can't. Never mind. Never mind. We'll say go. I mean, I could put this out, but I feel like they want me to put this out. All right, yet again, let me make them use their burn. Doesn't seem like they have a burn because there was no play with fire hold there. But having a 2/1 first striker is not bad. Weird feeling. Never mind. Not, yet again, not what I'm expecting here. Expecting them to be more, try the 5 Lotus card. The one that comes into play tapped, right? That's the one we're talking about? That's actually not a bad one. I think we say go. I don't have white, but I have colors. All right. Sure. This now works differently than I originally wanted to because now they have Fable the Mirror Breaker. I think Fable's good, but I feel like I have to kind of get rid of things on the battlefield. And we'll get rid of the Etchin because then we only get hit for 2. All right, we're just drawing all our Proving Grounds, I guess. I mean, blue is something, but it's not what I need. I could use, like, just, like, 1 less. I think I'm dead. Or close to. Or 2. Got a burn spell. Holding priority. Yeah. So my opponent drew 3 lightning strikes. I drew all 4, or yeah, I drew all 4, all 3 of my proven grounds. So shuffler was fine. I feel like that game. Let's go into the thing and try the 5 Lotus card. Let's see if I can find it. Do I actually own copies of it? I don't even know. I don't even know. Lotus. Let's add 2. And then how much land do we have? We have 24. Probably don't want to drop land. Probably drop that and that. I feel like that makes us a little bit top heavy, but I feel like if we can get it out, maybe it's good. Like, I don't want to go below 24. Maybe get rid of a Jukai. And then I feel like this is probably the best shrine out of the 5. And we'll have at least a good enough amount of copies of that. It's just going to be a matter of, is the Lotus going to be too slow at 5 mana? Just because you can't immediately use, you have to wait the additional turn. Yet again, it's a weird hand. Proving Ground is the card of choice in the hand. But I mean, if we can draw one of our other color lands, maybe. It's not bad. Possibly against a slower deck. But we'll play our tap land as well. Okay, I can work with this. I think we just kind of continue slow playing it, though. I don't think there's any rush to get a bunch out. Looks like our opponent's some sort of Golgari. For a second there, I thought that was in call time. I kind of forgot that card existed. If I do this right, I can play both cards. So if I play Otawara out, which I'm not ideal to, but if I play Otawara, we play Naturalist and a Shrine. And there's priority hold for some reason. Not sure what would be holding priority here. There's no, there's not a 0 speed instant removal. Game being weird, maybe? Shieldred. Alright, well, we'll do a nice upkeep stop. And we'll leyline Shieldred. Thank you. Thanks. Everything came up Millhouse there. Zur is actually really good here. Don't have the mana, though. Unfortunately. Yeah, we'll get the Plaza. Plaza's strong. Probably should have done that. I'll still attack him for 2. I'm not really a big deal. You can block. I want to gain the 2 life one way or the other. And we'll mill you 1. Don't have any sort of way to protect. Shrine. But next turn we can Plaza, get out one of these. I don't know what our opponent's going to do here. No! I want the Zur! Hey, Lotus! Play the Lotus. Swing for 2. Still gain 2. Well, at least we can play Kami War now, regardless of whatever happens, because we got the 5 mana land. They're getting 1 card of their choice. Sure. You're at least going to get me for 2. Why do you have a priority hold for me? Draw. They held my priority? Why did it hold priority there? Kami War on this, because I feel like I don't want them to get that, and they only have that in there, so I'll do this, and we'll play this, and autopay, and mill you for 2, and there's another Shieldred, I guess. And I think Kami War can at least bounce the Shieldred to their hand, or bounce something to their hand, so it's not the biggest of deals. Sure. So it looks like our opponent's playing like a budget mono black aggro-ish deck that's trying to utilize draw. Also, fun trick I could do next turn is I could technically bounce my own leyline back to my own hand. And technically make them have the legend rule their own Shieldreds. And then, yeah. That should be fun. We can legend... I think we're going to legend rule them. I think that's going to be fun. And then I can replay Leyline Bind on whatever I want to. Ooh. Sure. Oops, 2 Shieldreds. You gotta choose one Shieldred. You gotta choose a Shieldred. There can only be one. Sure, you can draw your card though. I don't mind you gaining some life. I could have resolved it a turn earlier, but it's only 2 life, so it's not the biggest of deals. And sure. Now we'll play Shrine. No attacks and turn. Autopay. 2 damage. Autopay. Mill 2. This is going good. Much better. I think the Lotus in a weird way helped. I can also now even get rid of my Proving Ground here to draw a card. So there's definitely some things we could do. Sure. I don't think that's the biggest of deals. You can make me discard a land card.
A fight? And you
But you also don't have a lot of cards yourself. If you make me sacrifice, I get rid of a 1/1. We both have 1 card. You know mine's a land. You have no cards in hand. What's in my deck? Do I have anything at instant speed for 2? Probably not. So we'll just get rid of it.
drop it.
It's a land. Huh. Leyline there, Liliana, so then it can't do anything. And then say go.
I'm not interested in dying today.
We'll decline because then we can protect. Keep posting budget decks for players like me can also enjoy this game. MTG is amazing. It's fun. You made it to Mythic last month too. Nice. Oh, the mono blue like decline. The mono blue like counter deck that kind of exists in the meta. I think this is fine. Sure, they're going to just swing all out. So they draw a card regardless. Interesting. Pass the blockers. Pass for strike. I feel like they just did what they need to. So I think personally, You draw 3 cards off of that. Maybe that's the most value, but I feel like having more mana open is probably a lot more value. But is that just me? Because if they would have drawn 2 cards off of it instead of 3, they would have had possibly 4 mana open and possibly play something a little bit better. I don't know, though. All right, they're just playing their hand, I guess. Ooh. Oh. Oh. That's pretty big. Also, I forgot last turn that I also have my Lotus open. So I had no idea. What do you want to give me? Yes. I actually feel like that's a good thing. Except when you get all lands, but not a big deal. Autopay. 2. Autopay. I mean, I guess this deck is not budget, though, because I would say the mana base is always what's going to hurt, like, 5-color decks just because it's expensive. Sure. I'll discard my land. Oh, it's not legendary? Rip, dude. Thought it was legendary. No attacks. No blocks. Anything. Opponent. Do I take out a creature? Just a normal underdog? Do I take out a creature now is the real question. No? Because then they're just going to sacrifice it in response, right? Or is it sacrifice another artifact? Sacrifice an artifact or a creature, draw a card. Not helpful. Autopay. 2. Autopay. 2. Slowly running out of time, opponent. What are we doing here? We drawing? We're evolving. How much money got open? It's got to cost 2. And which one's going? That one? Sure. You can get one more. Well, I appreciate it. Don't ask me how the algorithm works when it comes to suggestion channels. It's all magic. Maybe because it's a live stream. I guess that's the crazy thing. Sure. We're making them lose some life. I mean, I'm not opposed to them losing life. Huh. Auto Tapper posted it weird. Maybe I should have kept the plaza open. I mean, they really can't attack, though. Right? Because if they attack too much, then they die. They can't play underdog. I mean, they could level up and evolve Sleeper, but... Just 2? Never mind. Keep. I guess they could. Though the thing is like I have the possibility of just drawing a Joda, which would then just increase like my shrine by 2, which would put them in a weird position. Or if I would have casted like I have Zur in the deck as well for the shrines. So if I would have top decked one of those, then have removal. Maybe Bad News Bears for them, and I'll just continue to mill them. Target opponent may sacrifice a non-land token permanent. If they don't, they lose 2 life. Oof. Yikes. I'll go to 18. I think I can take care of that. Okay. So our opponent has been able to just grind us out and get better value off top their deck. Okay. Keep it attacking before. Well, I guess they're gonna gain life from Shieldred, so. Past the blockers. I could, in theory. Chump. Possibly gain. Well, I won't gain any life because of the knight. And just take 2? Or do it this way, and if they pump, there's no reason. Because they're only going to do that to a 1/1. Are they going to kill it? I mean, they have all the resources. They're at 19 cards, though. Is that, like, a concern for them at the moment? I feel like I'm also blocking it. Why don't I move my camera over here? Maybe that's better. I feel like I'm blocking the lower right-hand corner. Seeing what I'm ley lying. Our opponent's deep in the tank, so... You were asking me? Yeah, I kind of had my, why yet again are we doing this? Sure. We'll play our creature. If only we have... If we can survive till next turn, maybe we have a chance. But they've just had more value. I have another one. Do you have another one? So, in a way, I have to survive, but it's not looking great. Opponent has a board. I only have 1 mana available. So now we have a 2/6 in the air, which isn't amazing either. Yeah. I'm not in a good position at all. I kind of drew dead. I mean, we've only also been at 5 land. Well, we were at 7 land, I guess. But just haven't really drawn much value out of it. Oh, I guess we're just going to go for it. Opponent's going for Baroque here. Sure. Personally, I would attack with the menace creature because that means I have to commit 2 blockers to it. I mean, I personally would... I think they're in a position that they could attack with almost everything except for like 2 ground blockers and be fine. Not sure what our opponent has though. So I mean, I'll take this, block there, and might as well block all the damage I can block from that in case they decide to pump. Right? Because that means they commit their mana to that and they might not have a bunch open. I'm not going to gain life, so not a big deal there. They're going to sacrifice their creature, draw a card. Leaves them with 1 creature, which is not bad. And I just got to draw one of my 3 Jodas left. 2 Jodas left. Or something. I don't know. I feel like Drag to the Bottom could be a good card, but I don't play that in the deck. Could be a possibility to add. Kami War's not actually the card I want right here in this position. I mean, it works, right? It does what I need it to do, but I'm so far behind that it doesn't even matter at this time because it's too late in the game. I don't have board presence. I might as well continue to do the shrine thing. Only downside to shrines, I guess, is that they're not really that great. A lot of spot removal is really the thing here. The problem is, it's like, I thought about playing Drag to the Bottom, but then I was like, well, I'm just going to destroy all my things. It's always that thing of like, if you play like a mid-rangey aggro deck or a mid-range deck in general, you don't want to destroy a focus around creatures. Feels very weird to splash. I don't know, though. I feel like Drag to the Bottom could just be one of those cards I could just add. Just to kind of keep the board as clean as possible since this deck takes a minute for it to set up. I'm just going to scoop because I feel like my opponent could win on this turn if they just attack with everything. And then the shield trigger would kill me. I only have 2 blockers, so I can't technically block everything. It's just a matter of... We'll get rid of Unleashed. Maybe go down 1 Lotus. I don't think 2's great. I mean, it's a good card to have for a 5-color deck, but... and I think we'll add 2 Drag to the Bottoms, I think. Okay, I guess the word Drag, 2. There we go. We'll add 2 of those. And see if that helps at all. It's just a very tough thing to play in this deck. Yeah, it's a conundrum. It's a tough deck to figure out. Like, I don't think shrines are great, but just trying to make it work is really the math problem right now we're in. But appreciate you watching. On the play, this is a perfectly fine hand, I think. Perfectly acceptable. Could use another untap land, but we'll get a Jetmir out. Hello? Mono red. Okay. Could be a challenge. And the real question is, do we just play tap land and say go, or do we get a creature on the battlefield and throw something in the way just in case they decide to do something about it? I think this is the play. Because then they're like, creature or spot removal is the conundrum they're in. Alright. That's actually not bad for us. Another Jetmir isn't great. But it actually isn't bad because we have Leyline Bind in. My guess is this, yeah, it's like a deck that plays a bunch of things to pump their creatures. We'll play another one. Didn't draw land. Great. Phoenix Chick is okay. I mean, if they're just going to play removal, I am more than happy with it going to my creatures than my face. All right, that's not... that is not removal, or not a land. It's always one of those things. When you always want to draw cards, you draw land, and when you want to draw things... All right. Land. No. Question is, do we wait until their turn and they get a Thermal Alchemist trigger? Or do we do it now and get rid of the Thermal Alchemist? I think we wait and see. Decline. I'm not going to do 1 point to their face. There's no point. And see what's up. Could have done it during their upkeep, but this can be cast anytime if I'm not mistaken, so we'll see what they do here. If I can get... Okay. Only get a trigger off of it. Still taking 3, though. If I can get a land. Yeah, I think unless they have... Yeah, there's... We just got stuck at 3 lands, which is not something that we want to do in a deck that is trying to play 5 colors. Land? Oh, man. Needed that land last turn. If I would have drawn the land last turn, we'd been able to drag to the bottom that turn. Exactly. Shuffler got shufflered there. All right, I mean, this one has lands in it and some spot removal, so I guess that's a plus. Yeah. The one downside to Arena sometimes it goes one way or the other way. It never goes in the middle where you want it to be. We'll just get one of these down. This will be the game we'll just get flooded. Missing green and red. Just in case they have counter spell, might as well get rid of this before they can do anything about it. Yeah, this is going to be a deck that we're just going to have to keep on answering what they play. Because this is one of those decks that can escalate rather quickly as long as they have cantrip type spells. I think they have a Consider in hand. Because there's a priority hold for 1 or is a Play with Fire. I don't remember if it was a red-blue land or just a red land. All right. I like those when you just kind of like stare at your opponent and that's it. Can I play my Naturalist? I can. Making all of my stuff cheaper. AKA just my Leyline Binder that was already 1. Sure. I'm going to say they have a lot of land in hand. Because I feel like it's actually really weird to play like a draw spell like that. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, they could still have like... Oh, we don't have a wait source open. We'll say go. Huh. Hottie Jin. Hottie Jin. I'll get it for 1. Sure. They still have something, but now they only have red mana open, so opportunity to strike, probably. Nothing's on the ground, though, so I feel like I can do this now, and they can't do anything about it. And then we'll just play a Naturalist, and we at least have a lifelinker on the ground. Probably have Burn. It's more than likely Burn here. All right, so we're just playing face up to face up here. I think I have a slightly better like hand because like once I like if Joda sticks, we're in a good spot, and I feel like it's gonna stick. I mean, they could play counter magic. Nope. And now we're off to the races. Because if I could just draw like one of my shrines, magic. They're only swinging for a possible 1-2-ish a turn, give or take on their cantrips. Opponent. Opponent. I guess our opponent is either contemplating scoop, or now they're just roping. Or that, yeah. I mean, Arena is known for just having problems in general. I've had it, like, I know, like, typically after every time they do, like, a release of a set, there's always, like, the first couple hours where, like, you'll play a game, and sometimes just even getting into the game, you'll get hung up, and then you have to get out of the game, and then relaunch the game, and then you're in the middle of the match already, and you may have missed a land drop. The game's perfectly. This is. It takes like I think it's like 30 seconds, and you get the initial rope, and now we're on like the. Yeah. The problem is he has. I don't know if you can see it, but he has 2 timeouts, so we're gonna sit here for like probably another 40 seconds until like you'll skip his turn automatically. Any minute. So we should strategize for it? Well, I already know the next turn, depending on what I draw. If I don't draw anything good, we're going to cycle the land I have in my hand. And hopefully draw something better. Strategy. Oh, and I'm also going to swing for 6. So that's my strategy next turn, regardless of what happens. Let the cards fall. It will happen probably, because now we'll skip automatically to my turn, or he'll blow up. I feel like there's no good way to deal with that situation though. Unfortunately, like some people I think rope to be rude, and then some people just like get disconnected. So it's like hard to tell, like, is it legit? Do you have any draw engine in the deck? It's tough because I'm trying to play shrines and stuff, so not really. I mean, the lands are probably the closest thing I have to a draw engine. This hand's keepable. I mean, I could see like a... I mean, granted. I think the one problem with the deck is I have too many tap lands. So, like, I could play Jukai Naturalist, but it's going to come out on, like, turn 3 if I play both tap lands immediately. So maybe I need to play, like, more untap lands. Maybe I'm too heavy. Clerics. Yeah, it's the one downside, especially in the meta. Blue, black. If you're unranked, you'll just concede. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, too, right? I'm not really playing, like, a serious queue, so it's... What color land do I want? That'll get me all but one of the things? Or do I play on... No, I'll do this. They get a turn to do the cleric stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised that... I don't know if you saw the game before, but I was playing against Mono Black, and we just kept on going longer and longer. I mean, granted, I eventually lost, but it was quite the long game, I would say, especially in, like, a play queue. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of what's happening right now on the battlefield. It's like I feel like I'm just throwing the Naturalist out there to just die. Unless I wait a turn. I think we say go and see what happens. They may play their Cleric, I feel like. Because they do have the Cleric, like, Lord that will give all their Clerics +1/+1. At least they don't have stuff that's going to, What do I think about the Meat Hook ban? I think it was needed, right? Like, no, I know people are like, Meat Hook's like great, like it's a great card. I just think it was overpowered for the meta. It just did too much and it worked so well in a lot of decks. And people would, if you're playing any deck that would need removal, that's like the board removal that you would play in said deck. Naturalist. And this. Oh my god. What is going on here? Alright. Sorry about that. I guess the bots like to come in random chats. Sure. Yeah, I mean, but the thing was it good and bad? Yes and no. But I do think it overall just helps the overall meta. That it's not no longer legal. No. My thing. I guess I do it this way and we only take 2. I don't know. Very, very mixed on just Meat Hook in general. Like, I liked it as a card. I just thought, you know, every deck that played it was just... It made the deck so much better. Are they going to play their flyer guy? Sure. I really don't want them to draw another land. because that means they can then start searching for clerics, which is bad news bears for us. Create some blockers. Sure. Yep. Gonna die to flyers. I could play Joda. But what does Joda do? It just puts a big body on the battlefield. Create just a big 7/7, and then they'll have to figure out what they got to do here. All right. Hello. I'll just get rid of their big guy. No attacks. Yeah, I mean, I did add in the drag to the bottoms, but I only threw 2 of them in because of like the situation like this where I just have so much going on. All right, what do we get in? Slug? That's not a cleric. Wait. Oh, one other. Darn. I don't have a second one. And I didn't draw good enough. I'm not dead yet. Is it that tough of a decision that I bounced your Tox Roll to your hand? They discard Tox Roll. Interesting. Yeah. No. They have another one? I mean, drag to the bottom here doesn't work. My assumption is they have another one. Right? Because they're doing all this. Yeah. Can I top deck another Kami War? That'd be great. It won't help because the board is full of Tox Rolls. Yeah, I just think the other problem is with this deck, and I don't think the reason, and it's not the, it's I think shrines are just not strong enough compared to like previous shrines from other sets, because we have to invest like that 1 additional mana, which I feel like doesn't make them that good. I think that's why the deck isn't that strong, because the other shrines had up, like I think the last time we had shrines, what was it, M21, or was it M20? Whichever time we had the shrines, it was the beginning of the upkeep effects, and you didn't have to pay any additional mana, so it was like added value. Whereas these shrines, I need to have mana open in order to make them anything viable. And I don't think there's really a good way to make shrines good. Like, I feel like there's other cards I'd be playing in these slots that probably would be better. That would probably coordinate together better. But I would say I probably would play like Joda with shrines if I was going to make shrines work. I don't know. Like the other big thing was, I think if I'm, let me go to my collection. Right, if we look at shrines, like in previous standard, like M21, we had this, which was just a shrine itself, and then on top of it, it gave me the ability to just go and look for a shrine and find it for free. Like I didn't have to even spend any money, or any mana to actually play the shrine. I don't think we have a shrine like that currently in standard that just is good comparatively. Also, why do I only have... Oh, you know what? Shrine. Oops. There we go. Much better. Yeah. So, like, in current standard, there isn't, like, the ultimate shrine. Like, this helps me find a shrine, but why would you want to spend 5 mana for a 3/2 that just goes and finds you a shrine that's kind of mediocre? Right, there's nothing else I'm missing. No, I'm just missing another Shrine Keeper, even though I have that same Shrine Keeper. Oh, man. Well, you know, we gave it a try. Gave Shrines a try. Not really. Probably won't keep it, but I don't think you could really play... I feel like you have to play Shrines 5-color, but I just don't think it's something that's viable in current standard. All right, let's just dive into like a deck to kind of get me out of the funk of losing X amount of games. Let's go to the rank queue. We'll go standard ranked, and let's just play some Celestia tokens. Hopefully it's still good. An all ward deck. Is there enough ward in standard to have a deck that's like that? I feel like you could probably get away with something like that in like an historic brawl where you have just you're open to so many more cards. Yeah, this is a keepable hand. You're a baby. Interesting. Let's just get Catilda out. Looks like we're playing maybe against some sort of 5-color deck. All right, represent. The question is it Adeline or is it Wedding Announcement? I think it's Adeline. Just get aggressive because they're gonna probably be in the same predicament that we were in. Of having to play so many tap lands, though. I don't know. Could technically get Rabble Rousing on. You've only been playing for a few months. Oh, it's all good. I've been playing Arena probably for like the past like 2-ish years. I've been doing content here on the channel, and then before that, I've been playing since the early days, since like 2002-ish. You got a counter spell removal? Nope. All right. I think we take the Paragon because I feel like at combat speed, it's not the greatest. Removal? You're not going to let me attack in with target in? Yeah. I mean, the speed of standard hasn't changed. It's just that there's so much in between each set. But I've been playing, I think, since 8th edition is roughly about when I started. So that's probably that's where I'm at. I started right before Mirrodin was like a thing. No! I'll take a basic land, though. Nothing in the deck. I did stop briefly during like Kamigawa's where I like took my break from playing. Okay, so it's a Windgrace deck with a lot of land. We'll just get a creature. I will actually just take the +1/+1 counter. Let's make the board bigger. Let's make things big. Sure. Cycling. Resolve. 2/2. Attackers. Probably shouldn't attack unless you got something. We'll put +1/+1 counters each of my creatures. I probably... Okay. They had enough. I mean, I'm only silver, so I didn't really play last month towards the end. I got to like Platinum 4, and I guess this is where I degressed to. So I felt like that was an interesting Windgrace deck, though. I feel like they didn't get like the proper hand. On the play, no white mana. Could top deck a white mana. But if we don't, we're in a bad position. Oh my goodness. I think we get rid of the Valor Stance and keep 3 land. Even though it's not, like, all good. Would the Valor Stance been good? It's tough to say. Tricky, tricky. You like the Jetmir version of the deck? Yeah, I thought about it. I don't know. I just like sometimes playing like 2 colors, or like 2 colors is like my sweet spot, because then I don't have to play tap lands. I can just play the pain lands if I want the 2 colors. Oh boy. I didn't really want to play that, but I have to. I guess you could play Ginny Faye in this deck if I wanted to, but you still don't have any Darians. Yeah, I would say I'm hoping that these gold impacts that they're releasing in the next thing are going to be good, just because I hope that like it will fix people's issues of not having all the cards. Oof, that's fine. What's your favorite Brothers War card so far? I actually haven't looked at a ton of Brothers War just yet. Interesting. So we are going to play a Gallagreators, and we're going to just destroy evil. Thankfully, we were able to get something. I mean, it's interesting that they're reprinting some cards for the mythical slot, kind of like Strixhaven. If I'm not mistaken, right? That's like the thing that's what they're calling it. So yeah, it's like tough to say what my favorite card in Brothers War, because I'm kind of waiting for all the spoils before I really dive into it. Ooh. I can attack him for 5, puts a chump block in, get a token out of it. I don't think there's any other good attacks, so I think I hold back, and we say go. I mean, I have good blocks for what the board has. I'm just waiting for what they're going to play. Okay. I guess they don't like that either. Let me see here. I think I have the previews up for Brothers War that Wizards has spoiled. I know there's like previews all over the place because things have gotten spoiled or leaked over the weekend. But let's take a quick gander at what we got going on here. Yeah, lots of concedes. I mean, this is also in ranked queue, so it's like they're conceding their way up at silver, right? In silver, you don't really D-rank if you lose, so it's not a big deal. Let's see what we got going on here. We have Destroy Target Evil, Calamity. Trenches seems okay. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Exile non-land permanent you don't control until it leaves the battlefield. That seems interesting, right? It's like a Glorious Anthem effect. Then on top of it, later in the game, you can just start exiling things. That could be good. The command is really good. I saw this card. This is actually really good. I think this is one of the better ones because you get to choose 2 for 3 mana. You get a token. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, and it gains double strike on a turn. You can search for planes and gain 2 life, right? Just search for a plane and then gain 2 life and scry. I mean, for 3 mana, I think that's a lot of value. No. I just started reading and it had too much words really to make it seem like it was going to be anything going to be good outside of just like an artifact deck. 2/1 for 3 that enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment, 2/1, and then tap it. You and an opponent each draw a card. Yikes. Maybe pair that up with like a Shieldred, okay, but I really never want to give my opponent card advantage. At the beginning of your combat each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control. Whenever another non-token soldier you control dies, create a 1/1 color soldier token. I think soldiers are going to be a thing because I saw the land as well. Exile target non-land permanent for as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it, and a spell cast by an opponent this way costs 2 more to cast. Oh, man. That's also true, but I just never, right? Like, if your opponent has mana open, you never want to give them a card because maybe you give them the removal spell they've been looking for. I think it's only good if you're like just forcing your opponent to draw. I don't know. It's I just never like giving my opponents value. Like Urtai, for example. Like Urtai is a great card. 4 mana, counter a spell or destroy like a non-land permanent. Downside is your opponent draws a card out of it, but it's hoping that one card is not going to turn the tide of the battle kind of thing. Whenever one or more creatures mana value 3 or less enter the battlefield under your control, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. So this is just that vampire, but built into an enchantment? Yeah, it is fun. I do like Anvil. I do think the only downfall to Anvil is like decks that go over the top with like cards like Titan of Industry. That's like that deck like there, like the Jund, like Windgrace, like Titan of Industry style deck is like the one downside to an Anvil deck because Titan of Industry by itself destroys artifacts, and then things have trample in that deck and they just kind of go over the top. Urza Silex, 4 mana, exile Urza Silex. Each player chooses 6 lands they control, destroy. All other permanents activate only as a sorcery. When it is put into exile from the battlefield, you may pay 2. If you do, search your library for a Planeswalker card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Oh. Okay, so we're just making Armageddon in the card in a way, and then giving our opponent value, giving whoever plays this value if they have the 2 mana additional open. So you crack it, tap mana down, just you keep all your untapped mana that you have open, maybe a couple tap lands, and then that's a thing. That seems okay. I mean, this set's gonna have a ton of artifact stuff. I assume blue's gonna be heavy in the artifacts. Return target artifact controlled to its owner's hand. Not bad. Copy target artifact spell you control. So this is just like the artifact version of that enchantment thing. The enchantment creature that gives enchantment creatures control +1/+1. This one's kind of like that one. You can copy an enchantment spell's ability. This one you copy target artifact spell's ability. Being of your up. Oh my god, so many words. So much reading. Being your end step, if you've cast a non-creature spell this turn, reveal the top 5 cards of your library for each card type among non-creature spells you've cast this turn. You may put a card that type from among them revealed cards into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library. Oh, I mean, it seems good. It's just, I don't know how many, like if you're playing a blue deck, are you really casting a bunch of spells? Or are you really only casting like counter spells and stuff and not a ton of value? Oh, 7 mana. As long as it's not your turn, the spell costs 3 more to cast, so the spell can cost 10 mana. Return all non-land permanents to their owner's hands at end the turn. So for 10 mana, you can play this on your opponent's turn and end their turn immediately and return all their non-land permanents. But for 7 mana, you can play it on your turn, and that's when the turn ends. So it's like a River's Rebuke in a way, but for standard. I mean, it's not a bad card. I just... right? Only 10 mana. Though I would say if you're playing Lotus, right? The Lotus, the 5 mana Lotus that comes into play tapped. Yeah. But I can see a control deck playing the Hercules Find a Meditation. I think that's the one downside to control, right? Anything with blue in it, and even like blue-white, there's barely any way to really remove that battlefield. So I feel like this is kind of like that one card that you're going to be sinking a ton of your mana into. And I've seen people dabble in with the Lotus in their like control decks because they have the time to slowly build up their mana base. Though, is it going to be quick enough for a faster aggro standard? Is going to be the real question. Commons, common, mythic. Look at the top card of your library at any time. All right, sounds good. You may play land and cast spells from the top of your library. Awesome. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a spell from your hand or the top of your library. Oh. Cost 8, though. Also expensive? Is it going to be playable? Maybe it's a one of? I don't know. It seems way too expensive to have more than one if you're going to play it. Yeah, so it's essentially look at the top card of your deck, top card of your library anytime, and you can play spells and lands off the top of your library, from the top of your library. And then once during your turn, you may play one of them for free. Essentially is what it says in simple terms. But it seems like a lot because it's broken out that way. Uncommon. Teferi. Can I read this? I can't see it. It's so small. It's small for me. Let me see if I can do something real quick. Let's just take this and there we go. Look at that. Nice big Teferi words. I know it's still kind of small. Whenever you draw a card, put a loyalty counter on Teferi. Oh. So at the beginning of your upkeep, put a loyalty count or whenever you draw. So at the beginning of your turn, with its -0, with any other spell that draws you cards, you get more Teferi counters. Got it. That's good. -2, created 2/2 blue spirit creature token with vigilance, and whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this card. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I would say for the last card that was like 8 mana, maybe that's like a historic brawl card or maybe a commander card. Standard, probably you won't see it at all. But this Teferi, now this is a card. Like this is like for 5 mana to get all this is good. So essentially, it's a 5 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker because maybe on the turn you play, you're going to immediately pay this. You're going to do 0 and plus it 1. You could -2 immediately to get a creature on the battlefield, but if you don't have any other sort of way to draw a card, the creature's not really good. And then on top of it, it could go each way. I guess it depends on matchup, but I would say I would 0. How's it going, Fudgem? And then target opponent chooses a permanent they control and return it to its owner's hand. Then they shuffle each non-land permanent they control into its owner's. Oh. Okay. Someone's gonna do some crazy combo that's gonna just draw a bunch of cards and they get -12 immediately with Teferi, and the game's gonna like end there because your opponent's gonna immediately scoop when they get one card back in their hand, and the rest of their battlefield's just shuffled away. But yeah, Teferi seems really good. I think this is a good planeswalker, like hands down. Like a passive way to get loyalty without really having to do anything. Definitely good. Urza's Command looks really good. Creatures you control don't get -2, -0 until end of turn. It's not bad. It's instant speed. Create a Pap Tower Stone, which is I think something that you tap it and it creates colorless mana. I don't know if it can only be spent to cast artifact spells, but I know it creates colorless mana. You create a tap 0/0 construct, artifact creature or token. This creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Okay, so this is an artifact command. And then scry 1 and draw a card. It's not bad. I would like one of these, though, to be a counter spell built into it, but still not overall terrible. Though it is kind of focused on just playing an artifact deck, so it's maybe not something that's going to be in all decks. Urza's Rebuff, counter spell. We got our 3 mana counter spell to set. Not bad. This is a card I saw, and this is kind of interesting. It's a 7 mana 4/3 or it's a 3 mana 2/1, and it's a prototype. You can cast it for its prototype cost, which makes it a 2/1. But you still get the ability it has. So when it enters the battlefield, if it was cast, you can exile target instant or sorcery card from with mana value less than or equal to the arcane its power and toughness from the graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. That seems like a great card. The problem is it's no whatchamacallit. What's the card? The 3 mana, is it 3 mana or 2 mana? Kind of does the same thing but has flash. It's kind of like that. And it's also blue. That's also true. It's also blue. But I can't think of the card that I'm thinking of that this card reminds me of. Something mage. All I know is it gets an instant or sorcery card back from your graveyard, and you can replay that card. But this one, you get to cast it for free. I just can't think of the card name off the top of my head. Oh my god, I just realized. This card is the card that can play a bunch of things. I don't know. This card seems interesting. Is it something that a mono blue player will play? I don't know. It's not bad, though. We'll see what people are... I'm kind of waiting and see what people really do with it, though, to really give my opinion. Because it's one of those things, like, in theory, you can like think of a bunch of things, but is that really going to work? Is it going to be, like, the end of the day thing? Surge Engine. 2 mana Defender, 3/2 Defender. It loses Defender for 1 mana. Okay, already sounds pretty good. So it's kind of like artifact, but it's really a blue artifact, even though it's a colorless artifact. 3 mana, it becomes blue and has base power and toughness of 5/4. Activate if Surge Engine doesn't have Defender. So for 4 mana, you can get both abilities. And for 6 mana, draw 3 cards. Activate only if Surge Engine is blue and only once. All right, I thought this card was gonna be decent, but because you have to pay essentially 10 mana into it to do all of it. Wait, hold on. Never mind, I'm dumb. So this doesn't end at end of turn. So it's essentially just mono blue's version of No, it's not 8 mana again. This doesn't end. It's like the little 1 mana black card that currently is in standard, but for artifact. It's 2 mana though. So you pay 1, it now loses Defender, it's now a 3/2. You pay 3, it becomes a 5/4 and becomes blue. And then for 6 mana after that, then you can draw 3 cards. So it's like one of those cards you kind of level up over the course of the game. Yeah, it didn't seem that way at first. That's why I got really confused. I'm like, that's really bad, but now it makes sense why it's mythic. It's a good card, I would say. This is like a good, solid blue card. And combine that with like Teferi, I think this is like a pretty sweet like 2-drop for blue. Temporal Anchor. Why is it 6 mana? At the beginning of your upkeep, scry 2. Okay, sounds okay. Whenever you choose to put 1 or more cards at the bottom of your library while scrying, exile that many cards from the bottom of your library. During your turn, you may play cards, exile. What is this card? The reason why I'm going to play a card, the reason why I'm exiling putting something on the bottom of my library is because I don't want it. I want a good card. So it's like I can put cards I want to play on the exile. What? So it's like I'm going to keep one on top, put one on the bottom. The one on the bottom is the one I want to play, but I want to draw the one on top. Is where my brain's thinking, right? That's kind of where I would say why it's so good, but it's 6 mana. Is it really viable in standard? Maybe not, but I could see this yet again being a nice, great commander card. Like, it screams commander. But I don't know. Super expensive. Though I could see why you didn't want to make it like 5 or 4 because that'd be way too broken. It's gonna be fun to mess around with and see what crazy things you can do of. You get both now? Yeah, so the way the card works, your hand becomes your hand plus the exile card. Exactly. So yeah, you whatever card you put on the bottom is going to get exiled, and you can play the card from exile. And then the card you keep on top is the card you're going to draw at the beginning of your upkeep. So you get both cards essentially. So you keep the one maybe keep like a land on top, and then put like a spell on the bottom that you want to play. And it doesn't seem like and it doesn't seem like the card you can. There's no time frame of when you can play those cards, right? It doesn't say like until end of turn. It says you can play cards exiled with it. So it's kind of like a Leer in a way, but the cards aren't in the graveyard; they're exiled. So your opponent even can't target the cards. They'll have to remove this in order for you not to have the ability to play those exiled cards. So it's actually really good. Like if you really think about it, yeah. Well, I mean, people are already playing Destroy Evil, right? Like Destroy Evil is a thing. I feel like if as long as like there's multiple spells that can do one of both, I feel like artifacts. There'll be a lot of anti-artifact stuff if people start shifting their way to artifact in general, like disenchant, but like maybe like a choose to. So if your opponent's not playing artifacts type of thing. Yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean the other thing too is like I think they wanted this set to make like a splash, right? Like the problem I always have with any sets that get released in general is typically like standard is really built around the initial sets of standard from what was from last year plus the initial September set, and then every set that releases up until the next rotation is usually just expansion of said set, and people don't really like deviate from what the meta is. And I think what they're trying to do here is to make Brothers War have enough of an impact on standard that people will maybe play some Brother War style decks and splash in some of the other cards from other sets. So it's kind of like makes all the cards in a way worthwhile to play one way or the other. So I think that's where they're going. That's why a lot of cards seem like really good, I guess. 7 mana Mindbreaker. Whenever it attacks, if a player mills half their library rounded up. And then you can unearth it for 4 mana. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, exile at the beginning of the next. Oh. Hmm. I mean, there's not a lot of mill. And the problem is there's a lot of spot removal in the format, right? So I feel like this card's not good. Like you unearth it, your opponent's just like, okay, I use like a Infernal Grasp, dead. And then you just wasted 4 mana. And the 7 mana is way too expensive. It's a very mediocre rare, I would say, at the end of the day. Maybe if it was like I don't know. I guess they didn't want to give like a cheap creature that could do some crazy unearth ability and make your opponent mill half their library. Maybe it's like mill 10 cards if you make it like a cheaper version of it, and maybe make it cost like 3 mana to unearth it and 4 mana to play it, or 5 mana, and make it like a 5/3 or something. I don't know. Too slow, I think, in the standard. Yeah. I mean, it's out of the range of a lot of the instant spell removal, like like your Thunder and Lightning Strike, but it can still get Infernal Grasp. Like it's just not that good. Okay, so we got a nice 1 mana 1/1 black creature. That's what mono black needs. Has Death Touch, even better. Let's just give mono black Death Touch for 1 mana, and then whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, create an untapped Power Stone token. Okay, and then 5 mana, exile creature card from your graveyard. Create a 3/3 colorless zombie artifact creature token. Huh. Is zombies a thing now? Is like zombies gonna become a thing? Because you could technically sacrifice a decay zombie token. Yeah. Like if I feel like this maybe helps zombies, because I feel like zombies is like an okay-ish deck to start out with, just because there's a lot of things to use from Innistrad. I think this kind of helps, right? Because like decayed zombies kind of suck, but if you are able to attack them with this and sacrifice one of them, and then you get a Power Stone out of it, it doesn't seem bad. And then slowly, exile a creature card from our graveyard, and you slowly build up a 3/3 army of zombie creature tokens. And then I guess there's the mono blue guy that gives them all your zombies flying. Could be something. I don't know. Something yet again to mess around with. 2 mana, Diabolic Intent. As additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, search your library for a card. Oh. Okay. We're doing this now, aren't we? We're just giving mono black a ways to cheaply search our library for the answer. I feel like mono black is not going to worry about Maybe. I would say the first card's probably the zombie creature lady is good for like zombies. Exactly, right? It gets a couple free attacks in. You get to slowly build up power stones, which will then ramp you, or your opponent has to make that choice of, do I let them hit me for one and they get these power stones to ramp me up? And then slowly they're going to build an army out of it. But still, this is... Why? Why would we give Mono Black this? Like, this Diabolic Intent is too good. For 2 mana and a creature, you get to look for anything. I don't know. This card just boggles my mind that they decide to reprint this. Oh, okay. So we got a Phyrexian Predator, Gix, Yawgmoth Predator, 3 mana, 3/3. That whenever creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. Huh. I guess you play him and Shieldred? But I feel like in the early game, I feel like I would, if I was the opponent and I got hit by my opponent's creature and I would pay that 1 life to maybe find an answer if I didn't have it. If like, the only downside is I only lose a point of life for it. And is it for each creature that deals combat damage, or is it just for whenever we get dealt combat damage? It says whenever a creature deals combat damage, so we could possibly gain multiple light. We can possibly, burn our 3 or 4 life and draw 3 or 4 cards, if I read it correctly. I don't know about this one either. Kind of. It's a 7-cast legendary spell that we discard X cards, exile top cards of your exile top X cards of target opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells among them while paying the mana cost. It's interesting. It's doing something kind of crazy that I just don't... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm sold on this guy, though. Oh, we got this figure back. That's sweet. Because Mono Black just needs more 1 mana removal. I mean, cut down's good enough. We don't need... Mono Black doesn't need more. Man. Go for the throats back? Jeez. Oh man, why don't we just give our opponent more Mono Black more removal that's just good in general, and there's no drop down back to it other than the fact they can't target an artifact creature. Whew, that's an interesting reprint right there. It's a good card. I just... Please, like, Infernal Grasp is one of those things, like, that we have hopes for our opponent draws against Mono Black, right? Like, it's an amazing removal spell, but Mono Black doesn't need better removal. 5 mana, sorcery speed, put 2+1/+1 counters up to 1 creature. It gains lifelink at the end of turn. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power among creatures they control. I don't think it's good. It's like okay, but not great. Yeah, I guess it's incentive to build the artifact, but it's just, is artifact going to be enough, right? Do we have enough from current sets plus what Brother Wars is going to introduce to make like a deck that's going to be like good enough to compete with the meta? I don't know. Painful Quandary. 5 mana enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life. What? What is this? It could be. It's just, it's tough. Right? It's a very specific thing with the last card. What is up with all this removal I'm just noticing? Like, I just noticed this card right here that I'm hovering over. If it's a common, The spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard, and then on top of it, it can become a 1-mana instant speed exile target creature or planeswalker. Possibly best removal spell ever, unless you have a way to get rid of the graveyard for a common. I mean, more than likely, you're probably paying like 2 or 3 for this, especially in the early game. But yet again, this turns off cards like. 1 second, let me go back to Arena real quick. What is it? Black spell, 1 mana, instant. No, it's a sorcery, right? I don't even think we have it legal in standard. Like, Eaten Alive now is pretty much useless compared to this card. Oh, I'm in zoomed in. Sorry. Eaten Alive is now useless. Like, if we have that card available for a common, right? Like, when you look at the rest of the commons, like, the other thing is Cut Down. I don't even see Cut Down. Yeah, like, why do we need to just give Mono Black all of the answers for removal? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's like they wanted to do their own version for standard, but not reprint that card. It just boggles my mind sometimes that when you see stuff like that, where it's like, did we really need that in standard? We got another Phyrexian worm here. 7 mana, 7/5. Has menace and lifelink. Ward is equal. Pay life equal to its power. What? Oh. That is. Whew. That is a 3-drop right there from Mono Black. If I've ever seen one. Worst case scenario, you play for 7 and you have a 7/5 that your opponent has to pay 7 life to target it with a spell. Best case scenario, you play it on turn 3. And you have a 3/3 that has menace and lifelink. And on top of that, if your opponent wants to target it directly with a spell, they have to pay 3 life. Like, that is bananas crazy. Like, good. And it becomes black. Like, what is this? Like, you're just going to see these all day in Mono Black. Like, Mono Black aggro, this is the new 3-drop. No Trespassers. We play these. Because now we have a 3/3 menace. You think it would be a better 3-drop just because of its removal to get rid of things from the graveyard? I think this is good. I mean, the only thing is if your opponent has like a Liliana or makes a way for you to sacrifice it, but I think this is a solid 3-drop for black. Like, I think it makes aggro better. Like, you play Trespasser and maybe some of these as well. Because they both do good things, I think, to the battlefield. Early game, yes. Late game, though, 3 life is definitely tough. I mean, that makes like things like Brutal Cathar very tough to play around. Right? Like, that's always like the downside. Like, if you get your opponent to flip a Brutal Cathar, but you're low on life and you can't target Brutal Cathar to get whatever is underneath it back, like, you're in a bad position. And the upside here is draw it late game. You can play for 7 and now have a 7/5 with ward 7. Yeah, I would say Trespasser gives it a run for its money, but the upside here is in the late game, this becomes a better card. Because then you have to deal with a 7/5 lifelinker menace. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out, though, in standard. It's always one of those things, like, things look good on paper, like, preview-wise, and then you play it, and it's like, okay, this card's garbage. Crown here. We got a 2+2/+0. Whenever a creature dies, draw a card. And you equip it for 2 or black. It's okay. Not. It's not great. Very meh, in my opinion. Brotherhood End. Choose one. Brotherhood End deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Okay. Destroy artifacts with mana value 3 or less. Solid card. It'll just be a matter of how many people are playing artifacts to make it a viable card. Definitely probably a sideboard card, if anything, in like best of 3 in traditional Magic, but standard, though, I'm not sold on it just because I feel like if you're only using one side of it, it's not really a good card. There's many things that you probably do that are better than this. Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, limited. A lot of these rares in general are all great limited cards, but the problem is when it comes to physical, like standard, like meta wise, that it's not you won't see anyone play because equipments in general is relatively slow, even if you only pay like 1 or 2 mana to do it. I think the standard meta is too like quick, and there's a lot of spot removal that it almost seems like it's pointless to do that stuff. All right, we got Felidon, Renam Activator, 2 mana, 2/2, has haste. Okay, can't block, not bad. Whenever it's dealt damage, exile that many cards from the top of your library. Choose one of them until end of turn. Until you end of your next turn, you may play that card. Huh. So if someone trades with it, depending on how much damage they trade it with, you exile that many cards. So it's kind of like that 1 mana card that when it dies, you exile top 2 cards, but this one is whenever it's dealt damage. So if it dies from damage being dealt, it's upside. Downside is if it just gets straight up like spot removal or you have to sacrifice it. It's just a 2/2 haster. It's okay. Can only have one of them out. It's just gonna be another thing too in the early game. Are you gonna have enough mana to then be able to play it? It's always a tough thing. Red command is an X cast. Okay, X and red. Choose target player. They may discard up to X cards. Then they draw a card for each card discarded this way. So you can either choose your opponent or yourself. This could be pretty good with a Shieldred. You know, make your opponent draw like 3 cards and they discard 3 cards. Or they may discard. You can play a land. I guess that's true. It's just the downside is like, I think it's you only play one of them until your end of your next turn. So it's like, if you end up having to exile top like 5 cards and they're all good, you only play one of them, and is it really that good at the end of the day? Okay, never mind. I read the first ability, but they may discard up to X cards, so it's more than likely you're gonna target yourself with the first ability. The spell deals X damage to target creature. Not bad. And then this spell deals X damage to target planeswalker. Interesting. And then target creature gets plus X+0, gains haste until end of turn. I don't like it. It's sorcery speed. It's a face up like a spell. So if you target your own creature, you just showing your opponent face up. It's like this is what I have. I mean the middle probably could be good, but yet again, your opponent has to play both really make it effective. I would say more situational. Yeah, it's too slow. I saw this, and this made me excited because mono red or this is a solid 1-drop for that Izzet deck. Just a 1 mana 1/2 haste prowess. Amazing card. Amazing card for that kind of style deck. You know what? The one thing I wanted to kind of see if outside of that, is there any other removal? I wanted to see if they added some additional like removal to like get rid of Shieldred or like high toughness creatures for red, because I think that's the one thing that like red's kind of lacking at the moment. Doesn't seem like, because it looks like we're getting to like red artifacts towards the bottom. 6 mana 4/5 flyer that when enters battlefield deals 4 damage to target. So it's a Shivian Dragon. 6 mana Shivian Dragon. That's a 4/5. Too slow. Visions of Phyrexia. Okay, hold on. I gotta read here. I already have my reading glasses on, but there's a lot to read here. 4 mana enchantment. Beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library. You may play that card. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't play the card exiled this turn, create a tap power token. It's an artifact with tap, add colorless mana. This mana can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. Okay, so yeah, power. It's possible. I mean, this is Wizard spoils, so they kind of like update more slowly than like the other websites. So they may haven't put everything up, but I'm sure there'll probably be a shatter or something that red would have to get rid of artifacts. I mean, we still have a braids, which is definitely a great like burn spell / removal like for artifacts in that way. Well, that's an uncommon one. That's an 8 mana prototype guide. We're not going to read that. All right, so we got red's big artifact construct creature. So it's a 9 mana creature, very expensive. Red is never playing the top side of this card ever, unless they're playing like mid-range red or something that doesn't exist currently in standard. 9 9 mana Trample Haster that when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. You know, it seems good, right? The top side seems good. But it's weird because I feel like the 5 mana side is a lot better, even though they're only 2 2s. If everything was just 1 mana less, right? I would say if it was 1 mana less, like it was an 8 cast on the for the main card, or 4 cast for the secondary prototype ability. Yeah, but Mono Red's never playing 9 mana. They're only 4/4s. Like, in green it would be good, but you're never going to play the other side of it. Because green can at least ramp up to that really quickly. Red struggles to gain momentum enough to ramp up into 9 mana in the current standard. Though, I guess if you have power stones, right? The little power stones, I guess that's a way to ramp up into this. I just don't know if red has enough to really do that. Yeah, it'll be like the one big, like it'll be a one of in the deck, and you'll just play this one big thing that just gets a bunch of like big creatures on the battlefield for cheap. I just think the prototype side of it's too expensive for 2 2s. 3 2 2s that are trample and haste, like what is that? Like turn 5, your opponent has something that's big enough to block it, or at least trade with them. They don't seem strong enough to really get through. You either lower the cost overall, or you would raise the power. You know, like why not make it like a typical red haste trampler? You know, like something that has very high power but low toughness. Like make it like a 4/2 or like a 3/1 or something like that to make it a little bit more even, but make it more powerful. Just doesn't seem strong enough to be a solid card in like a mono red deck in any sort of way. All right, I guess that's it for green for now. I guess we're still getting spoiled here, so we don't have everything. Fade from history, a 10/4. Yeah, like something like that. Like it's something that's a little bit ridiculous, maybe, but still, I just think like it doesn't seem red when it's an even power and toughness it's a very aggressive card, and it doesn't scream aggressive like red aggressive to me, where it's like there's a trade-off for having such high power, which is usually weak toughness, so it's usually a creature that goes in and immediately dies. To me, swinging in for 2 2s just doesn't seem anything to be like, I gotta play that card for a mythic quality. If it was rare, maybe, but mythic doesn't seem very like, wow. Like it doesn't seem like the black one, where like the black one seemed really good, like in comparison. Okay, so Fade from History, 4 mana sorcery. Each player who controls an artifact or enchantment creates a 2/2 green bear creature token, and they destroy all artifacts and enchantments. So green board wipe for anti-artifact / enchantment decks, and the trade-off is they get a 2/2. Right, it's tough for best of 1. I can see, yeah, it's good in Commander. I can see this being a card to have in your sideboard for constructed play if you play best of 3 or traditional standard. Best of 1 though, you won't see it. You won't see a look at this card unless somehow the meta shifts strictly to very heavy artifacts and enchantments in general. Like you can't just play this card like a couple copies of just because there's Selesnya enchantments that are in the top of the meta at this current time in best of 1. But still, I do see like this card has play. It's just not a main deck card in my opinion. At this current time, at least. Because I do think, if I'm not mistaken, right, After Brothers War isn't technically the next 2 sets also artifact based, because it's like the... Yeah. I would say if like there's a rise in like artifact decks as well on top of the Selesnya enchantments deck, it's a sideboard card at best. But I do think the next 2 sets have to involve what's his name, and I don't know if they're artifact based sets at all either, but it's possible. Maybe we'll get more artifacts in the near future, and that card eventually becomes much better. But it's not good now. No more. Man, they haven't. I guess Wizards hasn't updated their green because there's barely any green spoiled. This is not it. There'll be more by like Friday because pre-release is next weekend, and then we get not this weekend, the following weekend. Wait, hold on. This upcoming weekend should be where spoils are probably finalized. The following weekend after that is then pre-release, and then we get it on the 15th of November. So we're 2 weeks away from Brothers War being released, because we're doing the reverse, where they get the physical people get to play it physically first before it goes on Arena, and vice versa. Yeah, it's always confusing because it's like one time we do it this way, the other time we do it that way, then we do it this way again, then we do it back that way. Oh, Giant Growth is back. Look at that. We get a little classic card back. Huh. Would you look at that? Obstinate Baloth got a reprint. Yeah, I gotta see what my schedule is next week and the weekend of the pre-release. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to play. I may have to do what I normally do, which I've been doing. Yeah, it's a reprint. It's a good reprint, actually. Because like Liliana, it's like a great like anti-Liliana card. It's like, maybe discard this. Okay, well, I'm going to discard it and play it essentially for free. But I'll probably end up going to the store, the card store that's local to me, and probably just pick up a bunch of pre-release, 2 bundles of pre-release packs, and then I'll open them and I'll probably do the codes that way. Because I think I'm actually doing something that Sunday, and then Saturday I'm not really sure. So it's like I'm not sure where I'm at with pre-releases myself. All right, so we get a multicolor. Green is a little bit unimpressive right now. Deathbloom Ritualist, 5 mana, 3/5. Add X mana of any one color, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. I haven't seen these graveyard focused decks work yet. Go back a second. Where we? It's a 4 mana. Put 2+1/+1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control. Untap that permanent. If it isn't a creature, it becomes a 0/0 creature in addition to its other type. So it's like a 4 mana, make something into a creature, like animate something. I think I saw this preview and people were like very surprised, because typically green likes to shatter artifacts in a way, or they like to typically are anti-artifact, but it seems like green's kind of buying into artifacts this set. Yeah, it's definitely more of a limited card than anything. You probably won't ever see anyone play this card, just because 4 mana for only making something a 2/2 at best. If it's not already a creature, it doesn't seem to be very good at instant speed. This card, yet again, I haven't seen people do graveyard strategies that actually work, and for 5 mana for a 3/5 seems kind of slow. Probably great and limited though. 2 mana, 3/3. Okay. Already seems very good. For Gruul, like it's already screaming, hey, this is a card you play in Gruul already. You sacrifice it. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible end of turn. Huh. Where were you last standard? Where were you when Bard class was a thing? That would be definitely a Bard class card, like Historic or Historic Brawl, like Gruul Legends. This is a card that like screams like play me in that kind of style of deck. Current standard, I don't know if Gruul's really playing a ton of Legends. Though, you know what? This could work in Naya humans, because it is a human soldier. So maybe playing humans, and it makes or maybe playing like your 5-color Joda decks, because that deck is pretty much Legends as well. It's interesting. At first it was like a 3 mana, 2 mana, 3/3 seems good. It just doesn't seem like it fits any other deck type other than like a human tribal deck. 2 mana, 3/2, also really good. Flyer, even better. Whenever you attack with 5 or more soldiers, creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain flying to end of turn. Are there enough soldiers to make this good? I saw some in this set. What is our soldier count in standard at the moment? Solider. I can't spell. I still can't spell. Oh, you know what? Maybe I did spell it right and Yeah, I was right. I wasn't right ever. Soldier. Soldier. Um. Soldier. Not human though. Soldier. Denick is a soldier. All right, soldiers could be a thing. Like, there's enough soldiers here to like support like a blue-white soldier deck. Yeah, I mean, soldiers could be a good deck. Looking at that card. So this seems to be like a very low to the ground soldier style deck. Maybe play Paragon Angel as a way to kind of like replace soldiers if they die in the process, but solid card, I think, for 2 mana. Oh. Okay, this row is already very interesting. I already saw the last card in the row, but first one up is Mishra. Yeah, that's also true. There's a lot of ways to create soldier tokens in standard currently too. 5 mana, 4/4. Permanents you control have ward. Sacrifice a permanent. Each artifact card in your graveyard has unearth 3. This is pretty good. Like this is like the thing though, right? Like this is like I feel like the thing like Rakdos is missing. Like this is like the top end card. Like this is that's a very good card. Like this is like the next step up from discarding a card to target something. This is now you have to sacrifice something in order to target something on top of. Like I could see. Yeah. On top of that, though, it's like this card seems like it's a solid card for like Anvil decks, because then like you can like sacrifice some of your artifacts and then unearth them to replay them, to only just get to sacrifice them again to like your anvils, and then your anvils on top of it. If your opponent tries to target it with anything, they have to now just sacrifice a permanent in order to target it. Which either, depending on what kind of deck they're playing, they either have to sacrifice a land, another creature, an enchantment. Like there's it's a good card. Like it like turns on the Rakdos deck. All right, 3 mana, 2/3, Queen. 4, discard all cards in your hand. Draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact card. Yeah, it definitely can snowball very easily. And once like it's out and you have a board presence and your opponent only has spot removal, like your opponent just has to scoop because there's no way they're going to be able to target everything. Right, so on discard all cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. You may choose an artifact or creature card with mana value 1. You discard it this way. Then do the same for artifact or creature card with mana value 2 and 3. Return those cards to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. It's very tricky. A lot of value. Don't have a lot of cards. How easy is it going to be for you to have cards of one of each value and have enough cards to make it like you're going to draw to be able to get some value out of it? Maybe like a one of in a deck. I don't really see it being that good overall. Could be commander as well. But the card I saw when I first scrolled onto this roll is Shahili. We got another Shahili reprint. Not a reprint, but like Shahili's, or maybe it is a reprint. I don't actually know. I didn't read it yet. 4 mana, 3 loyalty, +1, scry 1. You may tap and untap artifact you control if you do draw a card. 2 gimmicky. Yeah, definitely 2 gimmicky. -2, create 2 1/1 colors, stop the artifact creature tokens with flying. They gain haste in the end turn. Seems pretty good. -4, you get an emblem with artifact creatures you control, get +1/+1, and artifact spells you cast cost 1 to cast. Wow. Sheesh. Yeah, I mean, if you can just get her to +1 and live a turn, you're going to get an emblem that just essentially makes everything cost you cheaper for the rest of the game. And worst case scenario, you have to minus her and get some blockers just to kind of, prevent you from losing life. She seems pretty good. definitely good. And like having a low ultimate, I mean, sign me up, I guess. It's just, is there enough to build around her to make her effective? Is going to be the real question. Thanos Toymaker, 5 mana, 3/5. Already sounds expensive. Whenever you cast a beast or a bird creature spell, you may copy it, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. That also seems gimmicky. Like, it seems like, and is there enough beasts and birds to really make it effective? Probably a commander card. Like a commander, if anything, than a playable, like, standard card. Okay. Tokasia, Dig Site Mentor. You can build around him, yeah, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough for him. But I feel like definitely in, like, Commander, where you have more sets that you have access to, you can find, like, the best beasts and birds that are available. I could see you playing him in that kind of style of deck. 4 mana, 4/3. Great. Creatures you control have Vigilance and tap to Surveil 1. Surveil 1, look at top card of your library. You may put that card to your graveyard. Okay. So Bant Legend, which already seems like you build a Bant deck around. And for, what is that? 2 of each color plus 2 colors, so 8 mana. Exile it from your graveyard. Return any number of target artifacts cards with total mana value 10 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Huh. Does Bant play enough artifacts? I mean, to be quite honest, I like her just front face up, like Bant Legend. That's a 4/3, making all your creatures have vigilance. Like, that seems good, regardless of like the secondary ability. Like, that just seems very good, and just being able to surveil whenever. I just don't know. Like, is their secondary ability good? The first ability I think is what sold me on her, but it's just like a couple copies of it, like a Bant like mid-range style deck with tokens can make this card really good. All right. And as we round out, I guess, the multicolors that Wizards has spoiled. 4 mana, 2/3. Artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Okay, so here's the Artifact Lord of the set. 6 mana, create a token that's a copy of target artifact creature control, except it's a 1/1 soldier creature in addition to its other types. Yeah, the first ability is all you need. I don't think the secondary ability is going to be good enough in standard, but I feel like the first ability in like a Bant tokens deck or a Bant mid-range deck of some sort is going to be what sets that deck card apart from everything else. And Surveil by itself is a great ability to have. Kind of expensive for a Lord compared to like the Lords that came out in Dominaria, only for a 2/3. Maybe a 2/4 I would have been more happy with. Plus, like, are you going to play this in a soldier deck but also make like artifacts as well? Like, it seems like it's trying to do 2 things, but it should only be doing one of the 2. I don't know. Okay. Clay Champion X4. Enters the battlefield with 3+1/+1 counters for each green mana spent to cast it. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 2 other target creatures you control. For each 2 mana spent to cast Clay Champion, put a +1/+1 counter on them. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, like, I feel like you want, like, I don't know, like, something about it, I guess you just make them soldiers. Right? It feels like it'd be a card that you could copy. It like gives soldiers you control get +2/+2, and then the copy ability makes them into artifacts. I feel like you don't turn an artifact into a human and a human into an art. Like, it feels like you go one way, you don't go the other way. I don't know. I guess I watched too much Pinocchio as a child to make me think that you can't build a human, but you can build a lookalike of a human. It's not bad though. Like, I'm also saying it's not bad. It's just the secondary ability is also very expensive. So it's like, yet again, like this card, like the card before it, interesting ability, but I feel like if I'm building like an artifact deck, I'll probably play this where I have artifact creatures, and this is an additional ability of said artifact deck where I can maybe in the late game play it. But yet again, I'm not going to build around the fact that I'm creating soldier tokens as well. This card just seems. That is true, I guess. So technically, but it just seems weird, right? Like, he would be building artifacts, he wouldn't be building humans. Well, I guess he's the puppeteer of just, I don't, all the things, I guess. Clay Champion's very expensive. right? To get, if he spends 6 mana, he comes into the battlefield as a 5/5 vanilla creature. You pay, like, this card's no. Just no. Not good. I don't know. Firebomb. 3 mana, 1/2 flash flyer that you may cast colorless spells and artifact spells as though they had flash. Amazing. Whenever you cast a spell, if the amount of mana that was spent to cast it is greater than Liberator's power, put a +1/+1 counter on Liberator. Oh, that's good. This is a great card. Like, if you're playing artifacts, this is like the card you want because then it gives all your artifact cards that much more value. Creatures, artifacts in general, being able to cast at instant speed. And then on top of it, if the mana cost of that said card is more, the casting cost is more than its power, it gets bigger and bigger. Yeah, I'm on board with this. Like, you can play this and then play like so many artifacts I think that exist. You play like Bankbuster after it, and you get a Bankbuster, and this seems great. Portal to Phyrexia, holy crap, 9 mana. So for 9 mana, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. At the beginning of your upkeep, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. It's a Phyrexia in addition to its other types. Oh, that's a commander card if I've ever seen one. It's not a standard card. 9 mana is very expensive. Though, I guess with Power Stones, maybe it's not super bad, but still. That's all you're really getting for 9 mana. I don't know. Yeah, commander card indeed. Stasis Coffin, 2 mana, tap it, exile Stasis Coffin, you gain protection from everything to your next turn. So this is like, I'm going to die card. I'm going to have this out on the battlefield, and then I'm going to protect it until like a turn away from possibly dying, but maybe I can win on the following turn kind of thing. Because that means they can't attack you, hit you, or do anything, but they can in response do things to you. So definitely kind of one of those cards that I feel like is kind of like a Platinum Angel built into a card and just kind of delays the game just that one extra turn. The Stone Brain, 2 mana, 2 to tap it. Exile it, choose a card name, search target player's graveyard, hand, library for up to 4 cards with a name, and exile them. Then player shuffles and draws a card feed. That's true, but I mean, yet again, it's one of those things that, for like in the late game too, if you're even the player that maybe the turn you played is the turn you crack it. It's not, maybe it's one of those things in the early game you keep it out on the battlefield. In the late game, this is just, for 5 mana, you're just gonna do all of it all at once, since you can immediately do it if you wanted to. So it's like, maybe like, for example, it's, I don't know, you drew like a tap land, but you need to just wait until next turn to then use that 6 mana you may have now to then wipe the battlefield. Whereas this can just stall, for the 5 mana you have open, you can at least stall the game that one extra turn until you can, wipe out the battlefield in one way or the other. It's just a stall card. That's all it's really doing. It's a face-up stall card. Stone Brain seems good. If you're very familiar with the meta, you could definitely pick off a couple good cards. Especially if you're playing the rank ladder, you could like look into your opponent's deck for 4 mana. Essentially, you get to remove all their Shieldreds. If they have any in their hand, they get to draw cards to replace them. But you could just pick through their whole deck and just get all their Shieldreds out of the way, or Lilianas, or any sort of particular like their big card. Just see you later. I guess the downside is it is sorcery speed, but I still think it's a great card that you may want to play a couple copies of if you just have no good way to remove said cards from your deck. Thrawn Spider, 3 mana, 2/4 with reach. Enters battlefield. You and target opponent each create a tap power token. And for 7 mana, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them. Put that card into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. Why do all of the abilities that you have to sink mana into cost so much? Like, why not look at the top 2 cards of your library for like 3 mana or 4 mana, but why does that have to be 7? Like, who's just gonna have? Wait, can Power Stones technically? Is there a card that can Power Stones pay the effects of artifacts, or can they only be used to cast non-artifacts or artifact spells? Is there one of the cards to talk about Power Stones? It is a weird set. It's gonna be one of those sets that I'm gonna have to like dig into when it comes out and like really see like what is really good when it actually comes to being like sticking onto the battlefield. But for lands, we get the other 5 that we're missing of the pain lands, which is great. So now we can play all the dual color decks and we have all the lands to kind of fix the mana that way. Blast Zone's back. Awesome. Love this card. Downside is can't target tokens, but can target anything else on the battlefield. We got another kind of like way to destroy non-basic lands, which is good. We have a particular this land in general is actually a land that's particular for soldiers. It's a land that comes in the battlefield. We reveal a soldier card from our hand, enters the battlefield untapped. If we reveal a soldier card, and on top of it, can create a blue and a white for no pain, and then for 5 mana we can sink into it. We can give +1/+1 to the team if we're maybe trying to go for a final attack. Hall of Tagsin, 4 mana land that creates colorless. For 1 and tapping it, we can create a mana of any color. So for 2 mana, you can fix mana, but you have to pay 1 mana to fix said mana. For 4 and tapping it, we can create a tap Power Stone token. It's an artifact with tap it, add this mana to can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. So does that answer the can't be used to cast a non-artifact spell? So doesn't mean then I guess I can only cast artifact spells with it. I can't pay artifact abilities then? Is if I'm reading that right? Kind of sucks then. Okay. Mishra's Factory's a thing. Okay, we're just gonna reprint a card that's from like 20 years ago. Or from Urza's at least, right? Colorless 2 becomes a 2/2 until end of turn. It's still a land and 1 and tap it. Target attack and assembly worker gets +2/+2. Whew. Nice. Yet again, though, is the only assembly worker that exists currently in standard would be Mishra's Factory, or Foundry, I should say. That's the thing. And then other than that, it's just lands. Oh, and Meld. Oh, this is that dumb thing, isn't it? I saw these when they first previewed them, when they first announced Brothers War. Yeah, in Artifact X, 4 of them. It's kind of like Both Nexus and all the Nexuses cards where you play those in the Artifact X because it's just another creature that you have on the battlefield that you can activate as another creature. Blink Moth and Ink Moth Nexus. Ink Moth does the infect damage. Blink Moth does just regular damage, and they both can pump themselves. Okay, so 3 mana artifact, double strike. When it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, you may discard your hand if you do draw 3 cards, and you can unearth it. What's the flip over ability? Oh my goodness, why are we going sideways? Whenever Mishra is lost, Phyrexia enters battlefield or attacks, choose 3. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Deals 3 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or planeswalker. Creatures you control gain menace and trample at the end of turn. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 to end of turn. And create 2 tap Power Stone tokens. Oh. Please tell me that's actually printed on the back of the card, though, so I don't actually have to, pull this card and then have to pull the other card that actually is the other side of it. But how do I... Oh, so Phyrexia Engine and I think Mishra together turn into the 9/9. If I'm not mistaken, right? Whenever you attack, each opponent loses X life or X, and you gain X life where X is the number of attacking creatures. If Mishra is claimed by Gix and a creature card named Phyrexian Dragon Engine are attacking, you own both of them, exile them, and meld them into Mishra's Lost. It's the top card. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? What is this, a BFM? Is this one of those things where we just take two cards and we have to put them together and we form the power zords for the thing, and we have to. So essentially, you take this card and this card, and you essentially put the pieces together and they make one card. But you have to have both of them out in order to turn them into the backside version of said card. Yeah, essentially, yeah. It's the BFG is back, or BFM is back. And I guess we have a green one that's a 3-mana, 3/4 star on the backside, has reach. Whenever one or more lands you control are put into your graveyard from anywhere, gain 2 life. At the beginning of upkeep, if there are 4 more land cards in your graveyard and you own both and control both Titania's Voice, Gaia, and a land named Agroth Sanctum, you get to flip it into Titania Gaia's Incarnate. Okay, that's the backside. And then this is the other part. It's a land that enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a legendary green creature, which I'm assuming you play this possibly and then play this. Creates a green mana. For 4 mana, you can make it you get to create a 2/2 bear creature token. Activate only as a sorcery? What is that garbage? And what's the... Oh, God. Hold on. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Nope. Bring you over real quick. Why am I gonna hurt? Nope, wrong way. Hold on. We'll fix this. No, one more. Upside down. Flip it 180. All right, there we go. Now we can read the card. Okay, so it's a Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haster. It has power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Enters the battlefield, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. And for 4 mana, you get to put 4+1/+1 counters on a land you control. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. Oh, okay. Yeah. Seems pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be like amazing, but it seems like, that one's a lot easier to put together than the other one. Right? Because this one's 7 mana to put together. This one's just 3 mana and then a land. And then you just have to have 4 lands in the deck. So you play this. You play this with, what's his name? The Planeswalker. And now you have big creatures on the battlefield, essentially. What's the Planeswalker? Can't think of him off the top of my head. I know it's like zoomed in. Planeswalker. Play this with a good old Ren and 7. GG's, my dude. And the fact is that like Ren and 7 can just search for the land if you only have the creature out. So I feel like that's even better. And then the last one that we have so far is Urza, Lord Protector. So we have another Urza card. So there's multiple Urzas in the set. 3 mana, 2/4. Already seems better than the other Urza card that we looked at. Artifact, instants, and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast. So control decks. This is your like legendary Lord. For 7 mana, if you own both this and the Lord Protector, an artifact name, the Mightstone, Weakstone, exile them. Put Urza, Planeswalker. Meld them into Urza, Planeswalker. So we flip it over. And we got the legendary 5 mana Mightstone, Weakstone. Enters battlefield, choose 1, draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -5/-5, and it is an artifact that can be tapped for 2 colorless mana. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Okay, so it's just a power stone, but it's just turned into 1. Okay, now we got to turn the screen again. Jeez, make me work here. All I want to do is, why can't I? OBS. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. 90 degrees? Nope. 180. I'm very bad at knowing which way is the proper way to turn stuff. All right, so it's a big Planeswalker that costs 7 essentially, so you get 7 loyalty when it flips over. And then once during each of your turns, you may activate an additional loyalty ability of Urza Planeswalker. Okay, so I guess there's a mode where you get additional turns that on top of your normal turns. But okay. that they had to specify that you just get one additional loyalty ability. +2 artifact instant sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast, and you gain 2 life. Not bad. +1, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Great. 0, create 2 1/1 soldier artifact creature tokens. -3, exile target non-land permanent. Alright, that's like the big ability. So you could flip them over and essentially -6 and get rid of 2 things off the bat. And then the upside ultimate ability is -10 artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn and destroy all non-land permanents. Oh. So we're playing whatchamacallit? Azorius artifact control, and this is like the ultimate let's just wipe the board spell. I just don't know. I don't know about transforming cards into one card if that's gonna. Yeah, but it just seems like one of those things, right? Like it just all of this stuff seems good, but how feasible is it going to be to pull off consistently? Like get in both abilities, and then some of them being able to tap X amount of mana to then essentially cast said abilities. Right? That's I think the big takeaway I got from this is how feasible is this going to be for a typical game. I mean, maybe it's do you play 4 of just so you know you can have them? I mean, for example, the one good thing is at least this land here. This land's a non-legendary land. Yeah, exactly. Your opponent will kill him or kill one of the pieces before you're able to cast because you can't let's say you have the Mightstone out or you have Urza out, but then you go cast this. Your opponent can in response be like, okay, the other piece is gone, kind of thing. I actually really like the green one, I think is the best of them so far, just because I feel like it's the easiest or more feasible one, and especially a more aggressive standard, because it is just, you need the land, you need the creature, and depending on the deck you're playing, if you're playing a Ren and 7, you could have a good way of getting already that many lands in your graveyard already. So out of them, probably the most feasible one to construct. But I'm sure there are going to be people trying to build decks that are going to be able to construct all of them. Not together, but individually. This in a mono green deck in general, I already makes mono green, I think, better. Because you go more into the old school mono green, where you play some of the new cards, but really the focus of the deck is to try to play Ren and 7 and stuff, where it's a little bit slower. I don't know, though. I don't know. All right. I think I'm going to head out for the night. It's been... I have no idea how long I've been streaming for. I think almost 3 hours. I got a few things I got to do. But I appreciate you guys hanging out. I think this will be on my channel afterwards. So if anyone missed anything, I guess they can rewatch. But appreciate it. Talk to you guys later.